a loop inside a loop is a nested loop. Just like we talked about nested if statements, where we had an if statement inside an if statement, right? So loops. So you have your outer loop here, then you have your inner loop, right? Same rules apply. You can only go into the inner loop when the condition outside the loop is true. You can only leave the inner loop when condition becomes false. So if you have 10 conditions in the inner loop, it has to check all the 10 before going back. So if you have 10 here in the outside loop, then you have 10 in the inner loop. When it goes in the first condition for the outer loop, if it's true, it'll go into the inner loop. Now, here it will execute all the 10 before going outside and increment. Let's say this is j. If j is 1, let's say it's I, right? If I is 1 here and it has to go up to 10. So if I is still in the boundary between 1 to 10, it'll go inside. When it goes inside j, it'll have to print everything from 1 to 10 for j before going back to I and incrementing I to 1 with 1 again, becoming 2, again repeating the whole process until it prints out the j again, right? Then goes back and so on and so forth. That's nested loops. So two conditions to remember. Don't forget, it has to be true outside for it to go inside, and it has to be false outside for it to, inside for it to leave and go back outside. Let's look at that. So I'll start with for loops. So you have for int I is equal to, let's say, let me just label it 0, then I less than 3. I just traverse 3 times this time. Then I plus plus, right? Then inside the loop, I'll say for int j is equal to 1, right? J less than 5, right? Then j plus plus. Then I'll say cout j, like that. So when I run my program right now, this is what we get. So we get these numbers here. To make it more interesting, let's do this. I'm going to add cout n line here once you print j. First thing I'll do is I'll say j, and I'll have some space here in between. Then second thing I'll do is I'll say cout n line for I. So now this means that whenever I increments and it goes into the next iteration, it has to start on a new line, right? So as it enters j, it has to start j on the new line. So what you're going to see is something like this structure. So this is what you have. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 being printed 3 times. So you have this, you have this, then you have this. So what this means is that when I is 0, it's going to go into j and print what's in j. When I becomes 1, it goes into j again, prints what's in j. When I becomes 2, it goes into j, prints what's in j. When I becomes 3, it won't print out because then I would not be less than 3, right? Because it's 3 now. So it's moving from 0, 1, and 2, which means it only print out 3 times, right? So this is the same as doing this, starting from 1 and going to less than or equal to 3. It's the same. Notice that we are printing j, not I. So which means the output will be what's inside, so which is j, right? So this same approach can be used to do do while and while loops, right? Same approach can be used. So let's talk about while loops. Wow. Int I is equal to 0. Now say while I is less than 3, and I'll say int j is equal to 1. Then what I'll say is while j is less than 5, right? Less than 5, then I'll say cout j and what I'll do is I'll say j plus plus, and I'll say I plus plus. So what I'm doing right now is just the same as what we did. So this is the inner loop, so this outer loop ending from here. So what I can do here is you can add a cout inline here. Can I add it here? I think so. Let me just add, once I increment, I'll say cout inline. Just so the next line starts from the other line. So what I'll do here is I'll say cout inline 2. And in fact, let me do this. Let me say equal to 5. So we have some differentiation between the two. Then I'll run my program. So we have the first one being printed 3 times, second one also being printed 3 times. Basically, that's what we're doing right now. So it's easy. It's very much easy, right? It's very much easy. So you can still get the same concept here and turn it into a do while loop, right? Now, what you have to do is just flip it because it's a while loop, then you have the do while. So you're going to do first before checking for the condition. So we're going to have do while. I'll say do, again, another do, and I'll say cout, let's say k, right? But first of all, I have to declare the k outside. So int, let me say l, right, is equal to 0. Int k is equal to 1. Start from 1. Then I'll say k plus plus. While k is less than or equal to 6. Wow. Then while L is less than 3. Like that. Again, I'm going to give another end line here. I'll say cout end line. I will have to increment L as well. So L plus plus, close. Then I run my program. So that's what we have right now here. This is the output for the do while loop, just that I didn't add an end line, so it couldn't make this shape, right? So this is a basic introduction based on nested loops. So I'm gonna do more of this because you're gonna use these loops to create shapes. Yes, create shapes, right? You can create a square shape because what we've done here is we've created a square shape, just that we've added numbers. So if we wanted, we can replace these numbers, this j with cout star, as so. you get stars. You see, this is the shape here you've made. So you can make many shapes within your program using loops, nested loops as well. So we're gonna look at that as well. For now, this is all you have to master. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.